Hello everybody. So I'm going to try and walk you through real quickly the material in Module 2 of English 025. Here in Module 2 it starts off with the glossary again, and there are two key terms here that you're going to be working with in this module, and the first one is topic sentence. The topic sentence is the main idea of a paragraph, and it's typically the first sentence of a paragraph, but not always. But the way that we're going to use it and the structure that we're going to do for our writing is going to include the topic sentence or that main idea as the first sentence. And in a longer piece of work, like an essay, it connects to the thesis. Now, for this assignment this week, we're not writing the thesis statement. We're just focusing on writing a paragraph. And so you're going to have a main idea at the very beginning. And we're just going to leave the thesis out for now. We're just working on the structure of a paragraph. The other thing the topic sentence does is that it tells readers what the paragraph will discuss. Now, when we say that it tells readers what a paragraph will discuss, you're not going to state it explicitly in the sense that you're going to say something like, this paragraph will discuss this. You leave that this paragraph language out. You don't draw attention to the fact that the person's reading a paragraph. Instead, you just make your statement. The main idea, the idea that you have that you are going to develop in greater detail. You just write it as if it's fact instead of drawing attention to it by saying something like, this paragraph will discuss whatever. So leave the this paragraph will discuss sort of language out and just get to the main idea. The second thing that you're going to be using is this meal plan structure. The meal plan structure is a structure for a paragraph, and so in this this structure type, the main idea, the M, is that topic sentence where the first thing you do is you tell us the main idea, and then you provide evidence, which could be like a quote, an example, or some kind of detail. You analyze that evidence, that is, you explain or offer some sort of reasoning that connects this evidence, that explains this evidence, that develops it. And then there's a link. The link is the sentence that wraps up the paragraph. It can tie back to the thesis statement, or it can transition to the next idea being the next paragraph. So we're going to work on writing a topic sentence and using the meal plan paragraph structure in this module. The next resources are editing resources for common writing errors like run-on sentences and fragments. And you need to read these and look at the examples. After you write your paragraph, you're going to come back and you're going to edit your paragraph to try and correct any of these errors if they're there. There's also a reading resource on editing and proofreading, which I'm going to let you read on your own. Let's take a moment, though, and look at the practice activity. This is not the assignment. This is just the practice. It mentions that part of being a good writer is the ability to recognize, revise, and write effective topic sentences that clearly express a main idea and set up supporting details. And so we're going to focus in this activity on fixing unfocused topic sentences or identifying focused and unfocused ones, revising the unfocused or the vague ones to express ideas more clearly, and write an original effective topic sentence. So, which of these are specific or focused, and which of these are unfocused, vague, or too broad? So it says pollution is a big problem in the world today because more people should care about the planet. Is that focused or unfocused? In other words, is it specific or is it vague? I would list this as vague. It's a big problem. How? And more people should care about the planet doesn't tell us how pollution is a problem. So this is unfocused. It's too vague. It's too broad. Let's look at the next one. Plastic waste in oceans harms marine animals and disrupts entire food chains. Is that focused or unfocused? I think it's focused. It's specific and it's clear. What are we talking about? Plastic waste in oceans. And what does it do? Harms marine animals and disrupts entire food chains. Notice how specific that is compared to this, where it's just like pollution in general is a big problem, but it doesn't tell us what kind of pollution, it doesn't tell us what the problem is. And then this whole thing about more people should care about the planet doesn't tell us anything about how pollution's a problem. So you can see with those first two that the first one is unfocused or vague, and the second one is focused and specific. Let's look at one other. Social media can be good or bad and can affect everyone's life differently. I don't even know what you're talking about, except that social media is involved. It is way too broad, way too unfocused. That doesn't mean that a person can't argue that social media has both good and bad effects on people, but the whole this can affect everyone's life differently does not help us understand how it could be good or how it could be bad. But if we look at this example, teenagers who sleep less than 7 hours a night, boy, this is specific, are more likely to experience anxiety and depression. That is a very focused, specific, and clear thesis statement. Or topic sentence, sorry. So there's some more examples. Take a few minutes and try and figure out which ones are focused or unfocused. Now for these, it says you are to revise the following weak topic sentences to make them more clear and specific. So, dogs can help people with disabilities. Well, in what way? So you could rewrite this to say that service dogs can help people who have issues with sight to become more mobile and exert their independence. That's more specific. Why? Because we're talking specifically about not just any dog, but a service dog can help what kind of person? This kind of person with what kind of task? This kind of task. Okay, so you can see how we can make it more specific. Try that with the next two. Now, for the third part, it says write your own topic sentences on the following main ideas. Community involvement. Explain how volunteering can make a difference. So you would actually want to write a specific topic sentence about how volunteering can make a difference in the community. Well, how could you go about that? Well, think about some specific form of volunteering in a community to help specific people and the specific difference that it could make. Okay? Volunteering at the local soup kitchen can provide much needed food and nourishment to homeless people in Cumberland County, period. You see how specific that was? What kind of volunteering? The soup kitchen can do what kind of difference? Help provide food and nutrition to whom? The homeless people. Where? In Cumberland County. So again, topic sentences should be specific and focused about an idea, not vague or broad or unfocused. So when we look at your writing assignment for this week, it says, consider the articles we read in Module 1 about using AI in everyday life, about whether to use it for school or for therapy. We had those two that we looked at. For this assignment, you will write a well-organized paragraph. What organization's technique are we going to use? That meal plan organization. So you can go back and look at that again in that glossary. You will write a well-organized paragraph discussing your personal experiences with artificial intelligence to include your experience and feelings on its use. Include at least one specific example of how AI has shown up in your life. This is going to be the evidence, right? So let me break this down real quick. You're going to write about your personal experience with artificial intelligence to include your experience and feelings on its use. That's the main idea. That's the topic sentence. The very first sentence should be about this. Include at least one specific example of how AI has shown up in your life. This is going to be the evidence, the E in the meal plan. Explain what happened and how it shaped your feelings about AI overall. That's the A. Okay? And so we've got the M and the E and the A, and then you'll have a sentence that wraps it up. This should be your own original writing and reflect your authentic perspective and voice. So don't just use AI to write your paragraph. That's not going to do it. That's not going to teach you what you need to know. So down here, it breaks down for you how to start your topic sentence. Begin with a topic sentence that introduces your experience with AI and gives a general sense of your stance on its use for class assignments or in other online spaces. Should we use it for class assignments? Yes or no? Should we use it in other online spaces? Yes or no? Should we use it for class assignments to a limited degree? And if so, what's the caveat? And so forth. Then your supporting sentences, they're going to write 2 of them. So this is the detailed example. That's the evidence of how AI has shown up in your life, and or what you have learned from others about its use or impact. And you're going to explain what you've learned. That's your second sentence there. And then your concluding sentence that wraps things up. So it's 1 sentence for the topic sentence, 2 in the middle, and then another one at the end for a total of 4 sentences. You need to use MLA format. So you can use the format template here. If you have Microsoft Word, you can download this and plug and chug the stuff in. If you don't have Word, you can set it up in Google Docs. Remember that back here in Module 1, I gave you excuse me, videos that show how to do that, the MLA formatting videos. Here's how you set up a document in MLA style, and here's how you do it in Google Docs. I've got Google Docs. Here's mine set up. I'm going to have my title here for whatever Module 2 is going to be called, whatever I'm going to title this paper. Maybe it's just going to be something like AI paragraph. Module 2. Okay. Now I'm ready to start typing my paragraph. Here's what it looks like. Remember, I need a total of 4 sentences. They got to follow that meal plan structure. Things. Notice that my first line is indented. So these are all lined up all the way on the left margin right here. But see how this is indented and the rest of the paragraph is lined up on the left? That's what I want. So to do that, I have to make sure that this, I click in front of the first word and I hit tab and it indents it. Now, problems that often occur is that sometimes students will have their paragraph centered like this, or they'll even tab there and it'll look like that. You see how it's jagged on both the left and on the right? That's an indication that it's center aligned. I want it left aligned. So I go to this icon, the align and indent, and I move it to left aligned, and look, now I've got it to where the left edge is straight and the right or the first line is indented. Now, if you're using Google Docs, you cannot just share the link with me. I cannot accept a link. You need to go to File, you need to go to Download and choose Microsoft Word, and that will download this document as a Microsoft Word document on your computer, which you will then upload to me for grading. Okay, so that's what you got to do if you're using Google Docs. Okay, email me if you have questions, folks. I hope that this was helpful. Thanks so much.